Well, Peter, when I went over some of your background, I know in your early days you started with a variety club. Tell me about your connection in helping out with the special need kids.
Well, it started, I used to be a stand-up comedian, and I was entertaining at the Cave, which no longer exists, with the old Mills brothers. And Jeffrey and Peter Barnett came down to the Cave about the Wednesday of the week we were finishing, and asked Harry Mills and I, would we come down to do this telethon on Saturday night? We said, well, what's a telethon? Well, you guys sing some songs, and Pete, you tell some jokes, and then what happens? Well, people phone and give money. We said, no, that's never going to happen. He said, well, it will happen. So I said to Harry, do you think we should do this? He said, yeah, let's do this. So they picked us up after the second show, went down to the Curie Theater, the Mills Brothers sang some songs, I told a couple of jokes, and people pledged. I think we may have raised $100,000 that night. And that was my beginning with Variety, and have stayed with them ever since. So next February is our 49th telethon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. 49 years go by. When you mentioned you started off as a comedian, which is new to me, how did that early beginnings help you in being an orator and a professional speaker today?
Well, amazingly, it is a tremendous amount of how I can speak on the platform, because I worked nightclubs, I worked the 2 o'clock show in the morning, I had terrible audiences, I worked working men's clubs in England, so I had a diverse range of clientele which I had to overcome. And so I quickly picked up, this joke works here, but that audience is not laughing, but they are over here. So how do I bring them all together? What I didn't realize for the years I was a stand-up comic, it was actually preparing me for being a professional speaker. And the main thing is I would tell lots of jokes, get lots of laughs, but I would leave empty. I would leave whatever the performance is empty. The audience were reasonably fulfilled. And I thought I need to do something where I'm fulfilled as well. So I used the skill of a show business coupled with a speaker, so I got fulfilled telling messages and seeing people's lives changed, or their moods changed, or their habits changed, or their perspective of life changed.
You mentioned people's lives changed. What we found when we were selling tickets, that you have impacted many people's lives, is something that came across. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel very humble. I don't see myself as other people see me, but I appreciate the respect that I'm given as a speaker. I've been doing it for 40 years, and I really work at trying to be as good as I can be. And I think using my voice and using the stage presence that I have, I can perhaps challenge people differently than somebody else. And so they think about what I've said, they think about how it could impact them, their family, their businesses, their lives, and they take action on that, and then they're grateful. If they don't take action, then they don't take action.
You mentioned that being a stand-up comedian helped you read audiences, if you will. Today, what advice would you give our new younger students in the audience about public speaking and the importance of that role? Toastmasters does not really prepare people to be orators, in my view. But I do believe it provides some kind of basics to get them going in the right direction. You know, they may not get rid of the butterflies in 8 weeks, but you can get them flying in formation.
Absolutely. If you want to be successful in any kind of business, you have to learn some fundamentals of how to speak. You might not speak to an audience of 500 or 600 or 700 people, but you're going to speak to a board of directors, you're going to speak to your sales staff, you're going to speak to bankers, you're going to speak to your accountants, you're going to speak to people who have an impact on your business, and you need to know how to do that. And if you don't know how to do that, you won't be nearly as successful as someone who does know how to do that. So being a qualified speaker is as important as being a good professional speaker on the platform. It's a must.
What's the best advice you've ever been given?
In the speaking business? Or just,
it could be in life.
The best advice is to be absolutely honest, have integrity, build your character, and do what you say you're going to do. no matter what, do what you say you're going to do, regardless. Now, there are some things that are out of your control, but if it's in your control to be at this place to do whatever you've committed to do it. And that's the same with clients. You know, we make mistakes with clients. I said, own up, fess up, and repair it immediately. No matter what the cost, repair it immediately. And we do that, and we have clients that have been with us for 25, 30 years because they know we don't intentionally make a mistake, but we're not going to hide it either. So be brutally honest with everything and everybody you're doing with business with.
I mentioned my father's been in the business for 52 years, cutting hair, and he has the same advice to me. He said, if you do it right, people want to do business with you. We have a family business, Kalamata Olives, which you'll have a sample here in a while, and people will look to do business with you if you do it right. You don't even have to market. They will want to join what you're doing.
Yeah.
And going through. So I concur with what your statement.
Well, Walt Disney said, do what you do so well that other people will come back and want to see you do it again, and be so impressed they will tell other people about what it is you do and bring them to see what you do. So whether it's hair cutting, or whether it's a magazine business, or whether it's speaking business, whatever it is you do with you, you're making suits, making shirts, whatever it is you do it so well that other people will want to see you do it again.
Last question, Peter. We've got some young people in the audience, and I spend a lot of time in education and try and prepare them for the future. What advice, if you were to go back and start over, what career do you see in the next 5, 10 years that they should be getting into? What's the future look like in the business world?
Well, my career, other than speaking, is in the publishing media business, and it is going through a great change. But in the next 5 years, magazines are not going anywhere. When I say they're not going broke. Regional magazines, our regional magazines, are almost as successful as they were 5 or 10 years ago. And we are adding a couple of magazines a year. I look at the BC Business Magazine, although the advertising we've got for our July issue, and it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. We can't trick them all. So they want to be in that product. And we're talking maybe $400,000 worth of business in July. Online, we've got less than $40,000. We've got more people watching the online than reading the magazine, but people want regional publications. So for me and my business, I am very optimistic over the next 5 years. But I think what you've got to do is, what makes your heart tick? What is it you really want to do, and are you passionate enough about it, and are you prepared to give your all and be the very best at it, whatever it happens to be? And you might have to zig and zag, but you will be successful if you're passionate for the long term and you just be the best you can be.
I can't tell you how many people hate their jobs, and they just don't want to take that risk to leap, to go out and do something else. Thank you so much for your time, and once again, look forward to your speech today.
My pleasure.
Pleasure.
My pleasure.